Welcome everyone. Today we'll begin our journey into the world of network security with chapter 1. Security fundamental. The chapter lay the foundation of everything else we will study in the CCNP chapter. All right. Yep. Let's start then. This is our book. The whole focus of this session is on the chapter 1. And what we are going to learn in this chapter 1. Let's see first of all what we have in chapter 1. So the chapter 1 is about cybersecurity fundamental, foundation topic, introduction to cybersecurity and cybersecurity versus information security, the NIST cybersecurity framework, additional NIST guidelines and document, the International Organization of Standardization, defining what are threat, vulnerability, and exploit. What is threat? What is vulnerability? What is an exploit? Risk, asset, threats, and vulnerabilities, defining threat actors, understanding what threat intelligence is, exploring common threat, virus and worm, Trojan, distributing malware, ransomware, covert communication, keylogger, spyware, analyzing malware, static analysis, dynamic analysis, common software and hardware vulnerability, injection vulnerability, SQL injection, HTML injection, command injection, authentication based vulnerability, cross site scripting, cross site request forgery, cookie manipulation attack, race condition, unprotected API, return to libc attack and buffer overflow, OWASP top 10, security vulnerability in open source software, then confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What is confidentiality? What is integrity? What is availability? Talking about availability, what is a denial of service attack, access control management, cloud security threats, cloud computing issue and concern, cloud computing attack, cloud computing security, IoT security threat, IoT protocol, hacking IoT implementation, and introduction to digital forensic and incident response. ISO IEC 27002 2013 and NIST. Incident response guidance. What is an incident? False positive, false negative, true positive, true negative. Incident serving severity level. How are incident reported? What is the incident response program? The incident response plan, the incident response process, tabletop exercise and playbook, information sharing and coordination, computer security incident response team, product security incident response team, the common vulnerability scoring system, national CSIRTS and computer emergency response team, coordination center, incident response provider and managing security provider, key incident management personnel, and the summary. So that is what we are going to take in consideration in this particular chapter. So what happened? Why is security important to us? Why security matters? Reason being is in today's connected world, network are like busy highways. Data is constantly moving and just like traffic, it needs rules, protections. Without security, attacker can intercept, alter, or block that flow. The result, what will be the result? The result will be loss of trust, financial damage, and sometimes even national level consequences. So these are the reason why do we need security in place. Security would not have been required if everybody is a good guy in this world. So it is not like that actually. Okay. Everybody has got their own interest. They do things for their own interest, and this can have a lot of precaution for an organization. Okay. So therefore, we are studying this chapter. This is basically a CCNA, CCNA overview, which you have learned in CCNA. But in this CCNP level, we are going much deeper into this concepts. Okay. So let's start. So the key topic, cybersecurity, as I told you from the book itself. So our key topic are cybersecurity basis, protect data across ingress, egress point, threat versus vulnerability and exploit. Common threat, what are the common threats? Software, hardware vulnerability, bug, weak password, missing encryption, buffer overflow, path traversal, CIA triad. So confidentiality, integrity, availability, cloud security threat, IS security threat, DFIR, digital forensic and incident response fundamentals, exam objective covers, then threat, on-premise cloud, vulnerability software hardware, security intelligent, authorizing sharing and consumption, endpoint role in phishing, social engineering defense. So let's go through it one by one. What I would suggest is let's first go to the book itself. And let's go to the chapter one. And here we go. Defining what are the threat, vulnerability, and exploit. So first, before beginning anything, we should understand what is threat, what is vulnerability, and what are exploiters. Okay. Then we can talk about exploring common threats, specifically the names of threat and their purpose. Common software and hardware vulnerability, describe and understand the most common software and hardware vulnerability. Then we will talk about this CIA. All right. So first thing, let's go here to our page number. This is request questions. Before starting the session, you should go to it and find out how much you know about it. Because once you know about it, how much you know about cybersecurity, then only you will be able to go deep into this whole thing. All right. If you don't know where you are, then it's not possible to increase your knowledge. All right. So here, here we go. We live in an interconnected world where both individual and collective action has have the potential to result in inspiring goodness or tragic harm. The objective of security, cybersecurity, is to protect each of us, our economy, our critical infrastructure, and our country from the harm that result from the advent or intentional misuse, compromise, or destruction of information and information system. All right. So, what is cybersecurity and what is information security, though? Cybersecurity, many individuals confuse traditionally information security with cybersecurity. In past, information security program and policy were designed to protect the confidential integrity and availability of data within the confine of organization. Unfortunately, this is not no longer sufficient. So, this cybersecurity is it includes all the things whatever we learned in last past many years as well as something more. Organizations are rarely self-contained and price of the interconnectivity is exposure to attack. So nowadays, an organization is not a private entity anymore. So it is connected to the internet and it is connecting to every other organization with which they work together. So there is a client-vendor relationship. The vendor can log in into client, consultant can log in into the client, and contractors are also available who have the request to log in into the organization. Okay. Or every organization, regardless of size or geographic location, is a potential target. Cybersecurity is the process of protecting information by preventing, detecting, and responding to the attack. So, what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is the process of protecting information by preventing, detecting, and responding to attack. Now, cybersecurity program recognize the organization must be veli- vigilant, resilient, and ready to protect and defend every ingress and egress connection as well as organizational data, whereas wherever it is stored, transmitted, or processed. Cybersecurity program and policy expand and build upon traditional information security program, but also include the following. So, what is separate from information security is are this. Nonetheless, not only this, a lot of other things are included, but to capture, these are the main focus. These are the main concepts which are integrated with information security. So cyber security management and oversight, threat intelligence and information sharing, third-party organization software and hardware dependency management, incident response and resilience. So these are some of the things which are along with information security is considered under cybersecurity. So this is an organization which has developed a framework to to deploy an organization in order to protect your organization from all kind of cybersecurity attacks and all. See, so the National Institute of Standardization and Technology is well-known organization that is part of U.S. Department of Commerce. NSID is non-regulatory federal agency within the U.S. Commerce Department Technology Administration. NIST mission is to develop and promote measurement, standard, and technology to enhance productivity, facilitate trade, and improve quality of life. So, the Computer Security Division (CSD) is one of the seven divisions within there. So, this is one of a department in NIST, which is called as SCSD, is one of the seven division within NIS Information Technology Laboratory. So NIST cybersecurity framework is a collection of industry standard and best practice to help organization manage cybersecurity risks. This framework is this framework is created in collaboration among the United States government, corporation, and individuals. The NIST cybersecurity framework can be accessed at this particular link. You can go and read various standards and everything related to cybersecurity. The NIST cybersecurity framework is developed with a common taxonomy, and one of the main goal is to address and manage cybersecurity risk in a cost-effective way to protect critical infrastructure. Although designed for a specific constituency, the requirement can serve as a security blueprint for any organization. So it is applicable to any organization. So another standards which are applicable are 500 and IST, SP 800 series, etc. Federal Information Processing Standard, special publication 800 series, special publication 1800 series, then NIST internal or interagency report, ITL bullets, etc. Then there is another organization which is called as ISO, International Organization of Standardization, which which is ISO is a network of national standard institute of more than 160 countries. ISO has developed more than 13,000 international standards on variety of subjects ranging from country code to passenger safety. So it is a bigger umbrella. It is not specifically for cybersecurity, but it has got a very good standard that is called as IEC 27,000 series, provide a recommendation for establishing, implementing, operating, and monitoring, review, maintenance, and improving an information security management system. So this is a standard which is applicable for our security management system. ISO 27002 describe the code of practice for information security management. So these are various other uh, standard developed by ISO. In all, there are more than 20 documents in this series, and several more are still under development. So this framework is applicable to public and private organizations of all size, according to the ISO website. Now comes now comes now we come directly to the our organization. So if you are running an organization or you are working in an organization, you need to know what you consider what you consider in your company as a asset. So first of all, you should understand what is your asset. So the building premise, whether it is asset. So yes, it is asset. The computers in your building premise, are they assets for your company or no? Yes. Human being, are they asset for you? Yes, they are. Your employee are the most important and critical asset of your company. So you need to protect them from all kind of vulnerabilities, attack, etc. So let us define what is a threat first. So what is a threat? A threat is any potential danger to an asset. If a vulnerability exists but has not yet been exploited, or more importantly, it is not yet publicly known, the threat is latent and not yet realized. If someone is actively launching an attack against you, your system, and successfully accessing something or compromising your security against an asset, the threat is realized. So until unless there is no attack on your system, the 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 situation is, you get to know what was important in your life once you have some emergency situation. Some, for example, we usually take our health as we take our health as a granted, for a granted. Yeah. So until unless you get into some trouble with your health, you will never know that your health is your asset and you need to protect it, right? So in the similar fashion, if your organization has not been attacked till now, you have not given a thought to it. You never understand from where somebody can attack and and damage your reputation or damage your asset. So the entity that take advantage of vulnerability is known as malicious actors. So who are the people first? Who are the people who do bad to your organization? They are called as malicious actor, and the path used by the actor to perform the attack is known as threat agent or threat vector. So whatever tools they are using, whatever methods they are using, they are called as threat vectors. Okay. What is a vulnerability? Vulnerability is a weakness. So you might have seen many movies in which uh, a bad actor, a villain, understand that. For example, we take some movie from Hollywood in which, or from Bollywood, where the bad actor get to know that left hand of his opponent is weak. So what he does in the ring, he will try and focus on that left hand and hit it again and again, so that can he can do a major damage to the another opponent. Okay. So what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is a weakness in the system design, implementation, software. So basically, you know that software are built by who? By software engineers, and they are not perfect. They might have missed something which some other some other smart, intelligent hacker can understand and use and make a use of it to break your system. The vulnerability is a weakness in the system design, implementation, software, or code, or the lack of a mechanism. A specific vulnerability might manifest as anything from a weakness in system design to the implementation of operational procedure. The correct implementation of safeguard and security countermeasure could mitigate the vulnerability and reduce the risk of the exploitation. So what happened whenever a software is developed, the first version of it might have brought some vulnerability into it, and then the company who is owning that software, once they get to know, once they get to know that there is something missing, which need to be corrected, so they correct it and then they give you a patch. So after implementing that patch, that weakness is removed. All right. Vulnerability and weaknesses are common mainly because they there is not there is not any perfect software or code in the existence. Some vulnerability have limited impact, are easily mitigated, however, many has broader implication. Vulnerability can be found in each of the following. Where can you find the vulnerability? First of all, in the application, attacker target applications have a target-rich environment to examine. Just think of all application running on your home and computers. Then operating system can also have vulnerability. Of course, Windows is one of the most vulnerable operating system. Operating system software is loaded on a workstation and server. Attacker can search for vulnerability in operating system that have not been patched or updated. Then hardware itself. Hardware itself can have vulnerability. Vulnerability can also be found in hardware. Mitigation of hardware vulnerability might require patches to microcode as well as the operating system or other system software. Good example of well-known hardware basic vulnerability are Spectra and Meltdown. This vulnerability take advantage of feature called speculated execution common to most modern processor architecture. Then there can be a misconfiguration. The configuration file and configuration setup for device or software may be misconfigured or may be developed in an unsecure state. For example, when deploying it, networking equipment, security concept were not taken in consideration while designing it. So what happened? Those vulnerabilities can be exploited in future. Then comes shrink wrap software. This is the application or executable file that is run on workstation or server. When installed on the device, it can have tons of functionality or security script or code available. For example, you run for a if you want some software which is useful for something, but you don't want to purchase it, and you go to the some pirated site where you find it. But these people have attached some codes into this, uh, and those you install in your system. Okay, so in that case, it become a vulnerable system. All right. Example of this is a board game. The rules are printed inside the box, and by opening it and playing, you agree to follow that rules. Similarly, shrink wrap software comes with a license agreement that you accept simply by installing and using the product. So, well, nobody in this world read the full license because it is so long to read. All right. So there might be something which the the software builders might have asked you in that license that it will open a XYZ port in your system in order to get update every now and then. But he may use it for anything. He may use it for entering your network. One of the example which is for sync wrap software is Adobe Photoshop. When distributed as a packed product, they have got some extra things uh, to to be accepted by the user, and by default we just click on it, and that's how we allow something to enter in our system. Now, vendor security research and vulnerability coordination center typically assign vulnerability and identifier that disclose to the public. The identifier is known as common vulnerability and exposure CVE. All right. So what is CVE? CVE is common vulnerability and exposure. So what happened is, in order to protect, or since we have developed a lot of standards, this is developed by MIT-RE. They have cooperated the CVE list of benefit of the community in order to ensure it remain a free and open standard, and well as to legally protect the ongoing use of it and any result content by government vendor or user. MITRE maintain the CV list, and the public website manage the CV compatibility program, oversees the CV naming authorization. So they have developed a system to recognize all kind of vulnerability in the system. And this is the website which I have opened it from uh, that link. You can download all or every C, and even you can subscribe this for latest update. So what you will get is, this is a company which is run by community. So a lot of big vendors, big and small vendors are part of this organization. They work together and they keep on updating the vulnerability list, CVE, and they send it to you by email, maybe weekly. And I'm just saying weekly. We will further see whether it is weekly or monthly, because that is important for your exam. This question may come about something which, uh, like, what is the frequency of this one? So that can come in the exam, which will be seen further in this chapter. It is given uh, in this chapter. Okay. So that is about CVE. The full form is, this can be also there in your exam, common vulnerability and exposure. I think it was earlier, maybe few year back, but now they have developed some. They keep on developing, making the exam more complicated and more updated one. So it may not come there, but it was there. So that is all about CVE. What is an exploit? So now you understood what is vulnerability. So vulnerability is a weakness in the system itself. So an exploit. What is an exploit? Exploit is a tool. An exploit refers to a piece of software, a tool, a technique, or a process that take advantage of vulnerability that lead to access, privilege, escalation, loss of integrity, or denial of services on the computer system. So exploit is a system which uses the vulnerability in in the system, in the client system, to create some nuisance in the organization. Exploit are dangerous because all software has vulnerabilities. Hackers and penetrators know that there are vulnerability and seek to take advantage of them. Although most organizations attempt to find and fix vulnerabilities, some organizations lack sufficient fund for securing these networks. Sometimes no one may even know the vulnerability exists and it is exploited. So until unless uh, it is, you can understand it like some CIA agent or some agent from some companies, some countries. They are hidden and they are roaming around your country to find out the secret of your country so that they can exploit it whenever time comes. Okay. Sometimes no one may, and until unless they are known, the vulnerability exists, it can be exploited easily. So that is known as zero days exploit. So what is, sometimes no one may know. So this word you need to remember. To remove zero day exploit, we have developed some zero day system so that nobody nobody in this world uh, can attack a system when it is developed deployed first time. So to remove this, we will study something. ZTP, I think this is the full form of that. So zero day protection kind of thing. Okay. Even when you know there is a problem and you are burdened with the fact that window exists between when a vulnerability is disclosed and when a patch is available to prevent the exploit, the more critical the server, the slower it is usually patched. Management management might be afraid of interpret. Okay, so whenever you get to know, for example, I'm an organization and I got CV list from MITRE, and I found that my Active Directory server has got a vulnerability, but on my Active Directory there are hundreds and thousands of users which are using my Active Directory server day in day out. So I don't have the leverage, the liberty to upgrade the patch on the system quickly. I will have to wait for certain time to raise a change management and to get approval. Once that is done and a good time where less users are there, that is the only time when we can implement our patch. Finally, the time required to develop and install the software patch on production server and workstation expose an organization IT infrastructure to an additional period of risk. Okay, so what is the risk? Risk is a when you know that there is a vulnerability and there is a correction, but you are not able to make that correction. So you remember, you understand that there is a situation when anybody can exploit it, and that is what is called as a risk. There are several places where people trade exploit for a malicious intent. The most prevalent is the dark web. So dark web has recent year. Dark web is not an organization but a group of people who are all already working on to exploit situations in an organization in order to get something, some benefit out of it. To it is kind of ransom that they do. They want money in return of it. So the dark web or the dark net is an overlay of network and system that uses the internet but requires specific software and configuration to access it. The dark web is just a small part of deep web. The deep web is just a small part of the dark web is just a small part of deep web. The deep web is a collection of information and system in the internet that is not indexed by web search engine. Often people incorrectly confuse the term deep web with the dark web. So they are whatever their name are, they are just there. They are just there. So deep web is a bigger umbrella in which dark web is there. Not all exploits shared for miscellaneous intent. For example, many security research share proof of concept exploit in public sites such as the exploit database. And so, all right, we get to know that there are people who will exploit it. But now, in order to protect ourselves or protect the organization, so we know that there are bad guys now, right? Black hat hackers. Now, to mitigate, to control, to protect the organization and to learn how to protect it, we have to put a white hat. So you will have to understand these how these bad actors use various vectors to exploit the vulnerability. Okay, so this is one of the place where good people keep their resources so that other good people in the world can understand what what and where can be where bad actor can exploit the vulnerability. So this is for the learning purpose. Exploitdb.com, where you can go and you can register or you can learn what are all these what are bad actors doing. So these are you can see these are the most current list of it. WordPress backup migration, remote command execution, mail cow, host, header password reset, poisoning, etc. So there are a lot of things which available on it in order to learn what what are the tools which can be used to exploit your vulnerability. All right. So from that website, you can download this and you can search it. All right. And there are some CLI programs also which can be used to attack the system. All right. Risk, asset, threat, and vulnerability. As of now, I believe you might have understand that what are these things. So that can be a question again in in the exam, asking a clear definition or giving you multiple points, choose multiple choice question, and a question whether what is hacking, what is risk, what is accept, like anything can be asked on that. Right. So let us talk about this thing. A threat set the stage of risk and is an agent condition or circumstance that could potentially cause harm, loss, or damages or compromise to IT asset or data asset from a security professional perspective. Threat can be categorized as event that can affect the confidentiality, integrity, or availability. Okay, let's now go and understand what is CIA trade. CIA is not the CIA agency of USA, but it has got its own full form, which is called as confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The CIA trade is concept that was created to define security policy to protect asset. The idea is that confidentiality, integrity, and availability should be guaranteed in any system that is considered secure. So if your organization is secure and you are following this all three things, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, that means you are protected. Right. So let us focus more on CIA. So confidentiality is what is configured for confidentiality. Confidentiality is when you share some information to your colleague. You are 100% sure that he is not going to share it with anyone. Anyone. Yeah. That is what is called as confidentiality. In the same case, if you think you have told your colleague or your peer some information, but he has put more, he has put more spice into it and shared with somebody else. So confidentiality is by default gone. Plus, he has added some other input to it. That means that means now, other than confidentiality, integrity is also damaged. Okay, integrity is also damaged. So the purpose of information is always to use it in the correct place. Okay, so if you have admin password for all the devices in your network which you have protected in a shelf, in a locker. One day something happened and your whole network is down, and you know that you will have to use the admin right in order to get into a system which is only available to enter, or you can just made the change using console, but you need a console password. You know that that password is there, but it is in a self, and the key is with somebody who is not there in the city itself. He is somewhere else. So then your availability of a network goes on a toss. Availability is the prime purpose of we maintaining an organization, an information system, uh, full network which cost hundreds and millions of dollars. But at the time of at the time of emergency, that password was not available. So these CIA tried keep keep all these three things in mind and develop a ecosystem which can work properly and do not do not do anything which can affect which can result in a non-availability of information or a network. So therefore the CI traits are very important. Then comes threat actor. As I told you, there are people who, right, threat actors are the person who are using these exploits in order to get something from after doing it. So there are various type of threat actors. Let us talk about them. Types of threat actors: hack hacktivist, driven by political or social cause. So there can be a reason to hack some other country. They aim to disturb or expose organization they oppose. So we there are there are always people sitting or properly working, especially when there are enemy countries in which you can take an advantage and enter into their ecosystem to learn the information which were not available to you, but they are very important to do the damage. So these people do that. The other people is cyber criminals motivated by financial things. So if you hack somebody's account, for example, you hack somebody's Bitcoin password somehow, any method, what you will do or what a bad actor will do. Bad actor will ask for money in order to provide the password again, because the real owner of this Bitcoin cannot use it because he might have changed it. He has he has now the Bitcoin and it cost a huge money, but the owner cannot. The owner is no more owner of this. So what he can do is he can engage in ransomware and he can take advantage of this situation, and then the owner has to pay for it. Then comes nation state actors. So this is very common: USSR, USA, Russia, China, Pakistan, India. They keep on doing all this because because this is nowadays called as fifth generation warfare, in which we use our digital resources to do damage to other country. Yeah. Then comes insider. So one of the employee who was removed from your company because of some reason, or maybe he was correct, but the organization was wrong and he was removed from the company and he faced a lot of hard time because of it. And then he takes it as an opportunity to take revenge against the organization. So he knows a lot of things about your organization, maybe password also, maybe methods in which he can enter your organization to find out the resources which are very critical to you. For example, you have some patent, you are going to do some patent and you have kept in a particular SharePoint in your organization and you have forget to provide security, or you don't have that security itself in your organization. You have not purchased any expensive resources because your budgets are low, but your technical skill, your skills related to your particular work is very good and you are going to make it a patent, and then you can learn. Right? a lot of money. But this employee who is a contractor, who was an ex-employee, he knows it, and he enter into the system and delete or take it out or do whatever he can. Yeah. So that is one script kiddies. So these are novice attackers, hackers, future bad actors. They are just learning hacking and they want to prove a point that they are smart in their work. Yeah. Terrorist group, usually terrorist group one can also do that. So what are the motivation behind it? Most common among criminal financial gain is among criminals. Ideological belief. So activists and terrorist group are following their own ideology and they don't believe in others' ideology. So that could be another reason, particular military advantage, revenge or personal grievance. Curiosity or challenge. So this curiosity and challenge comes with script kiddies. Yeah. Now let's talk about actor, attack actor and the cyber kill chain. What have we learned till now? We are progressing further to get more information about what are this. So the next topic, which is common attack vector, consists of a mapping of attack vector and their description. So this is a kind of security model developed by Lockheed Martin. It described the stage of a cybersecurity attack from the attacker initially researched to the final goal of data theft or system distribution. By breaking down the attack into steps, defender can identify and stop threat earlier in the chain. So it is a model developed by Lockheed Martin. The it has got some stages, and you can use this model to protect your organization. So this the various stages of cyber kill chain are reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is in Hindi. In Urdu, it is called as Reiki Karna. Reiki is a Hindi word for it. So you sniff behind a certain target. You keep an eye on it. The attacker, then you get information. The attacker gather information about the target. Uh, a burglar walking around a neighborhood, noting which house has alarms and which don't, or which has a camera. That can be an example. Then comes the weaponization. The attacker create a malicious payload like malware or exploit code. And so in the next stage, what it does, it do a very this during this phase, his target is not to achieve success. He is just testing the water. Okay, so he will do something to test if his philosophy is right or not. Then comes the delivery. The payload is sent to the victim via email, USB, website, etc. So what analogy you can see is the bad actor slipping a fake flyer under your door with a hidden trick. Okay. Then comes fourth stage, which is exploitation. The malicious code is triggered. So the bad actor finally found a window which is open, which when he was doing the reconnaissance, he found that if that window is open someday by mistake, he can use it to enter or to plant a CCTV camera inside it or small spy camera inside it. So that day he gets that opportunity. So then on that day, the what he does is he plant his spy in your room. So this is the fifth stage. Malware is installed to maintain access. Then comes command and control. Once that is done, he goes to his system. He goes to his system and execute it. He starts the camera and take all the information provided in your room into his system. The attacker established communication with the compromised system. The this he has now he is boss of your organization, yeah. And then last is action. The attacker achieve this goal stealing data, disrupting service, or spreading. So this is the ultimate day when he finally choose to do the damage. Why it is important to understand the kill chain? The kill chain helps security team understand that attack are not single event but a sequence. If a defender can detect and block even one stage of example, stopping delivery with email filter, they can prevent the attack for succeeding. So that is why the this framework is useful. So the common attacker to know someone who is asking certain question which is not relevant to him, that is called as phishing. It it talks about something which he don't need to know. So deceptive email or message trick used in case of organization, there might be some email which may ask for credential or it can send a malicious link. Then comes malware, malicious software like virus, worm, ransomware, or spyware. It can put in using that one. Drive by download, automatic download of malware when visiting compromised website. Man in middle attack is a kind of attack in which when client and server is talking, so the communication is broken in between and somebody represent itself as a client and then talk to the server. SQL injection, exploit database queries via input field to gain unauthorized access. So there might be something which allow your database to damage, to make it inconsistent. Zero day exploit, attacker attacks target unknown or unpatched vulnerability. Inside threat, as we discussed, inside threat is that only. So this we have already gone through. So these are Lockheed Martin models: reconnaissance, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command control, and action on objective. So understanding the chain help defender detect early, break the sequence, and mitigate the damage. Security controls. So now we talk about security controls. So what is security controls? How they work together. So what is preventive control? Preventive controls are your first line of defense. Think of them as locked door and security guard. Detective control act like surveillance camera and alarms. They don't stop the attack, but they help you spot it. Corrective control are your recovery crew, restoring operation and plugging gaps post incident. So these are the three category of security control. One is called as preventive. So the lock or at your door is to protect your house from somebody getting into it. The detective control is to to put cameras and alarms in your door on or in front of your house so that you can detect if there is somebody, some bad actor trying to reach you. Last one is if some damage has been done or is in the process of damage damaging your system. You take control and you correct it. So the example given already here is preventive. For preventive, what you install is firewall, access control list, encryption, security policy. So this can be a very simple question to confuse you, to tell which category of security control is from which. So they can switch over things from here and there, and they can put it randomly, and they may ask you to match it properly. So that is how it can be questioned in the exam. So you should be clear in your mind that preventive measures, for preventive security control, firewall can be used, access control can be used, encryption can be used, security policy can be used. When you talk about defective security control, you have to use systems and processes and hardware like IDS, IPS, audit login, SIM system, CCTV, etc. For corrective, you need IT, efficient IT team, or you need to hire somebody who can back up, patch, incident response plan, and reimagine. Now, risk management and security posture. So it is a detailed topic, and let us talk about it. Risk management and security. I believe I have taken it to, because it is bigger. So I have not risk risk assess. So what is the topic risk? Okay, let's click the link itself then. Copilot, copy and paste. Yeah, so here we go. Risk management life cycle: identify, access, mitigate, monitor, and review. So this is the process of risk management life cycle. Security posture component includes policy and governance, technical control, awareness and training, incident response and control audit. So while in a risk management life cycle, identify means catalog, assess threat, vulnerability, and potential impact. Access, evaluate likelihood and impact to determine the risk level. Apply the control to risk to acceptable level. Monitor, continue track risk indicator and control effectiveness. Review periodically reassess risk and update strategies. So these are the things which need to consider under risk management life cycle. And the security posture which is to be considered are policy and governance, technical control, awareness and training, incident response and compliance and audit. So you have to take all this in consideration for this all risk management and risk posturing. Then comes compliance framework. All right, this organization has given you the compliances, which if you want to go for a standardization, you have to follow it in your organization and get certified. All right, out of which NIST is not mandatory. ISO 27001 is also not mandatory, but you can follow it and implement it in your organization. If you want to get certified, then it is mandatory. Everything should be following ISO 27001. GDPR is EU or a standard, and it is for personal data protection. So in Europe, you cannot share personal data of someone to any organization or anybody. It is strict compliance, and you have to follow if you do business in EU. And otherwise, you have uh, a great repercussion for it. So that I would like to share uh, violation, fine, and example. Okay, let us bring it in front of you because it is important if you are working in Europe. So the GDPR imposed fine of violation of data protection regulation with the amount determined by the severity of the violation and organization global turnover. The fine are structured into two tier up to 10 million or 2% of a global annual turnover for less severe violation and up to 20%, 20 million or 4% of global annual turnover for more serious violation. Factors such as scale of violation, the company response to the incident, and various violation can influence the fine amount. Organizations must comply with GDPR to avoid this penalty, which can be significant and costly. So this is really good for good people, but it is very, very bad for bad actors. All right, let's talk about framework, NISTIS, and GDPR. So we have already seen it, but not in detail. So going detail is not required for exam purpose. Usually nothing much will be asked other than full form or something very critical, something very critical. Yeah. Rest, everything is fine. We have gone through it already and keep, keep principal consent, data minimization and breach notification data subject right mandatory for an organization handling this. All right. Let's talk about vulnerability versus exploit versus threat. So in order to not to confuse with all three terminology, we need to check it one more time. So vulnerability is just a weakness. Exploits are the tools, and threat is the situation, is the loss which you will face after an attack. So the definition is a threat actor use an exploit to take advantage of vulnerability. Not all vulnerability are exploited, but all exploit require a vulnerability. Threat can be active or passive. Threat modeling, identify and prioritize threat based on system vulnerability. Vulnerability management, how to correct it, use patch, mitigate, or isolate weakness. Exploit detection, use IDS, IPS, sandboxing, and behavior analysis. So that is how exploit can be detected. We again see the definition: a weakness or flaw in the system, software, or process. Example: an outdated web server with unpatched software. Exploit a method or tool used to take advantage of vulnerability. Example: a script that target the unpatched server or gain access. Threat, potential danger that could exploit a vulnerability. Example: a hacker or miscellaneous aiming to compromise the server. Now comes the security terminology. You know it very well. Risk assessment, identify and prioritize risks to critical asset inventory, foundation of zero day trust, and segmentation strategy. Exposure management used to like Cisco secure workload. This can be a question. Exposure management, what can you use to find out the exposure? Okay. Used to like Cisco secure workload, firepower, umbrella to reduce attack surface. So attack surface is another good thing to know here. Attack surface is a place. For example, PIN is a word pin used place in network. So you define attack surface using that method, and you know that what asset of your organization can be impacted by whom, like a human being or virus or anything else. A layered security model. physical network endpoint application data and user awareness. So these are some of the layered security model purpose. What is physical? Prevent unauthorized physical access like biometric log. You protect your premises using this all logs. Network at the network layer, control traffic and segment. You keep traffic separate from each other, segment it. You 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 put firewall in order to find out if something wrong is going entering your network. Endpoint protect your devices using antivirus, EDR, and deep learning. Okay. Application, secure software and secure web, secure code, practice data, protect sensitive information, user awareness, educate and empower user security training, phishing simulations. So recently companies send a phishing attack on you in order to find out whether you click or not. Once you click it, they go to the security training link and you will have to go through that training if you have done that mistake. Defense in depth strategy. So defense in depth versus single point security, single point failure risk, one compromise control and lead to full breach. Layer defense advantage, even if one layer is failed, other can detect, delay or mitigate the attack. CCI security relevance, design secure architecture using segmentation, zoning, policy enforcement, implement layer control with Cisco technologies, firepower, network ICE, identity AMP and EDR. So all the name of all of these things are a little bit changed in a new version. So in some other video, whenever we go there, I will put the new name also uh, to to make it more clear. Okay, so in exam, what is happening is due to this old documentation, to 3-year-old book, 5-year book. Since this version 2 is also 5 year back, 5-year old. So quite possible that there can be some word. So you will have to be mindful to understand what the examiner is asking about. You might already know the answer, but the name might have some. You might face a difficulty in understanding, or but you will if you do a little bit of um, thinking, you will understand what the examiner is talking about. Right, zero trust model overview. So I told you at the time of zero exploit, zero um, to remember that 0 day exploit thing. So the to in order to protect. So the whole philosophy is like, and earlier in when the information security was there, it was not considered that that our premise on premise environment is vulnerable or uh, is open for the bad actors. So that has been changed in psychology or philosophy nowadays. Now all the equipment and uh, all things, all the equipment, especially all the systems which are made nowadays, they are while developing their those thing while developing those things. Zero trust is considered like we don't trust anything. Okay. So the systems are made like this. So the pillar of this zero trust are identity for identity, authenticate user and device, use Cisco eyes and do for device security, ensure endpoint compliance, AMP for endpoint and secure client, network segmentation, limit movement, lateral. So trust sec, VRF and ACL can be used for that reason. Application access, enforce least privilege, ZTNA, SSO and RBAC rule-based access control for data protection, use DLP, TLS, tokenization, and visibility and analysis. Monitor and response to an anomaly. So SecureX and SeathWatch. SeathWatch name is also changed, SIEM, etc. You can use for visibility and analytics. Zero trust model overview. So there is a comparison between traditional model and zero trust model. Trust model was network parameter. So it was considered that our network is the parameter, the focus point, and all the protection was done keeping in mind our network parameter. However, now in zero trust model, everything is identity based and context. Access control, earlier static access list was used to protect your network, but now it is dynamic policies, threat detection, perimeter based. It was a perimeter based, like somebody is entering firewall, then it is considered as a good actor. But now it is not no more like that, continuous and everywhere. So at any point, any what was the word? Um, Attack surface, any attack surface, or all the attack surfaces are considered equally important, and they keep track of uh, events. They keep track of events in continuation. User verification once at login. So traditionally, once a user entered into your network using authentication or authorization, he was never disturbed again. He was free to enjoy the luxury in your network and do whatever he wants. But it is not like that now. So it is continuous as well as adaptive. So if adaptive means if if some device get to know or some sensor find out that this user is not doing things which he usually do on the basis of frequency it has learned from the login of a user, he can again send it back to the authenticator to authenticate again. So that is how it is. So it is adaptive. CCI security relevance, design secure access using eyes, trust second segmentation, implement adaptive authentication with Duo, and Duo is like your Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator. Yeah, it for cloud-based security mechanism, posture check, integrate telemeter and teleresponse via SecureX and Firewall. So that is for correction and to preventive and correction mechanism. All right. So that was all about this chapter. So whatever we have learned, it all include everything. Uh, I hope you like this session and thank you for joining. Have a good day.